Hey guys, welcome to another video of me trying to build a portfolio. I hope you guys were following the last session, and what we did in the last session was we chose a color scheme. We defined those colors as constants in our main CSS file. The next thing we did was we designed a logo, and we then chose fonts that we wanted for our website. And then we got into actual coding. We started off with the basic React app, which was bootstrapped to us by the Create React app. And after that, what we did was we went ahead and created this pretty looking nav bar. Uh, as next steps, what we are going to do is we are going to first try to integrate this with React Router, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about what React Router is. So, as you can see, these things are mostly going to be links, and when the interaction we would want is when one of these links is clicked, we would want a different page to be rendered. So, uh, React Router has a clean way of doing that. So without further ado, let's get started with React Router. So, before we do anything, I think we need to first install React Router. So the way we do that is npm massive React Router DOM. This will go ahead and install React Router for us. Uh, so once we have React Router, we are going to go ahead and make changes. While that gets installed, ooh, look, it happened so fast. Awesome. So what we need to do now is we need to change all of these to links instead of the normal A tag. And the other thing that we need to do is usually the logo on the left is also a link, because when we click it, it takes us back to the home. So that's a small caveat we all need to remember, and let's go ahead and do just that. So the first thing we do is let's get a link from React Router DOM, and we need to use the nav link because the nav link is the behavior of it is easy to change to the way we want it to look. To is basically the path that we want the link to take us to, and then we make it home. Then we do the same things. So this is going to be skills, which will be skills, and then we have interests, which is going to be, and what this should do is this should make the page look same, but after we resolve the issue, obviously. So the error it is telling us is navlink can only be used in the context of a router. So what this means is this navlink type cannot be used anywhere. We have to use it inside the context of a router. So what we have to do is we have to make this outer class a router. So let's get to it. So for that, first we need to do a router from React. Okay, and did it import? Okay, I like to use the browser router for this. Yep, browser router exists, and we're gonna remove this, and I'm going to move this inside router, and I'm going to delete this. So ideally what this should do is this should make it look ugly, which it did. So let's go ahead and fix the styling, because this is not the pretty style we expected it to have. So it got the font weight, but all the other things it didn't get. So the way I like to, I don't have the CSS memorized. I like to build on top of what is already over here. And this is a neat way to just see what is going on, right? So I'm going to click this and do first, we're going to remove the text decoration. That's going to remove the underline that we had. I'm going to make the color and the color is going to be my primary font color. Yep, and we're back to it looking manageable, right? So these are the two we added. So let's go ahead and copy this and put it in our navbar.css. And I hope you guys are able to appreciate the advantage of having the styles like this, because the styles are split up. We know exactly which CSS file we need to change and which element we need to change. So if we do this, and once the page gets refreshed, it should just look just like this. Awesome. So one thing we need to understand is uh, the classes are going to so we need the link to somehow be different if it is the active link. For example, if I am in the skills page, I will want this skills to look different from the home link, because there should be some way for the user to know which link is clicked. So the way we do that is React Router allows for an active class name. So what you can do is with this you can give an active class name which will be applied to the element whichever link that is active. So if we do just this, what you should see is you will see that this is both of these are active because it's a slash skills, so both of these will be active. But ideally you would not want that. You would want only slash to be active when it is in the slash, right? So the way we do that is we can make this exact, so that way you will see that only one of them is active even if it's in slash skills. If I click home, only the home will be active, right? So let's go ahead and add some effects to this. So because we know the active class name active is the class that gets added to these links when they're active, we can go ahead and add few styles for it. So the way we do that, again, it's going to be same. We're going to take this because this is the base element, and A is going to have the class active, and what we want to happen at that in that scenario is I want the color to change, and I want the color to be my gradient 2. Let's see what gradient 2 looks like, right? So let's do that. Gradient 2 is a little too light, I think. Probably let's try gradient 3. Yeah, this is better. This makes it very clear which of these is active. So let's see the interaction. So if I click skills, you see how this color is sort of right there. Yeah, awesome. So, ooh, so pretty. Anywho, before I get further distracted by that, let's go ahead and add more styles to this. So another thing we'd want is we want this A tag to have a hover state. And what does a hover state mean? So a oops. So hover is basically the state that the state when you hover your mouse over it. So for example, when I hover over this link, I want it to look like something, right? So the way we do that is we define the hover state and then we define specific styles for that hover state. So when it is hovering, I want the color to change to probably gradient 2, because I don't want it to be gradient 3, because gradient 3 is already like an active link, and I want text decoration to be an underline. So let's see how that looks. So if I hover over something, it should look like this. Uh, not not what I expect it to be. So, oh, oops, yeah. So let's hover over again. Uh, Looks decent, right? One thing that we need to do is we need to first of all remove, change the distance between uh, the text and the actual underline. So let's go ahead and do that. And the best way to do that is let's open up this inspect, and we can select the specific element and force it to be in a hover state. So that way we see what it looks like. And in the hover thing, we can add more styling to it. Underline offset to be say 10 pixels, so the underline is going to be 10 pixels below that. 10 pixels, I think let's do no, I believe 10 should be fine. And we also want it to be a little larger than that. Decoration, thickness. So we want to add a thickness to it as well, because I don't want the line to be that thin. It'll look like it's a mistake, but it's an intentional line that is meant to be used for highlighting. So let's give it 2 pixels. 2 pixels is too small. I think 3 is good enough. So let's do 3 pixels. Does that look good? So it'll be something like this. So when it's active, let's disable text decoration, and the other thing we want to do is we want to copy this and put it over here. So next time we refresh, it should look fancier. So it's going to look like this, and the active one will not have anything because it's already set. Not bad, right? I really like this. uh, I don't I'm not vibing with the gray, to be honest. But should we change it right now? Actually, let's not change it right now. Let's go ahead and see how the main fonts will look on the page, and then we can go ahead and change that. Okay. Now, so basically we have a nav bar which are working links. So as you can see, it shifts to a different link, and it shifts to a different link, and we have defined hover states and their respective styles. And what we want to do next is we want to uh, have different pages come up when these links are clicked. So let's go ahead and do that. So the way we do that is we go into our app.js, because that is sort of our container for everything. And in the app.js, we're going to have a switcher. So what this switch will do is it's going to switch between links, and so this is going to be, this is home. And last but not the least, we'll have interests as well, and that's gonna look like this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and save it, but nothing's gonna, okay, yeah. So you'll see this is home. Then we're gonna do here, and it's gonna still show this is home, which is amazing. Okay. Oh yeah. Oops. So we need exact everywhere, because otherwise it's gonna match slash, because it's a switch case. Basically, it's gonna match slash first, and it's gonna say this is home, but we don't want that. So we want it to be an exact match. So this is home, the skills, and this is interest. So we have this ready. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and design specific pages for home, skills, and interests. Let's do home first, because that's literally going to be the most basic page. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and do that. For that, first we need to go ahead, go to components, and essentially it's going to be a basic info component, which is going to have, the way I'm visioning it is, it's going to have some text, and then it's going to have an image, and in that image will be anything, will mostly be that of a developer or something like that. It can also be your image. I'm not super comfortable in putting my photos on my portfolio. Not right now, at least, because first of all, I don't have a lot of good photos. Second of all, I think you know, a photo is more social media thing, and your portfolio is, at least a web developer's portfolio is meant to be a little more formal, or at least I'd like to make it a little more formal. Okay, enough talking. Let's go make a component. I'm gonna make a basic info section, and we know the drill, guys. We need to have a basic info.css, and in basic in RFCE, it's gonna create a basic component for us, and I'm gonna say this is basic info. So what this will do is, this will basically this will tell us that the code is coming up until here. Okay, so our code has gotten significantly bigger. Now we have components, and in app.js we have seemingly 3 paths where the code can flow through, and each of those path has a separate entity to it. So I like to think of these things as pages. So at the very basic level, we have components, and pages will have one or more components to it. Uh, I think that's pretty intuitive. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me go ahead and create another folder in the source hierarchy, and name it pages, and this is gonna have all my pages. So we're starting off with home, so we're gonna start with home.js, and we're gonna have home.css. Okay, same thing. Okay, it'll not work in a CSS file, guys. Pay attention. What are you doing? This is home. Actually, no. Let's go ahead and just import this basic info, and let's name this okay. And what we have to do next is we're gonna in the route of the base path we have to make it home. So if I go here, it should say this is basic info because it imports a home component and the home component internally has the basic info component. So let's go ahead and design the basic info component. So as I said, two things the basic info will have. There'll be text, there'll be an image, and let's go ahead and do that. First, we need to decide what the color of this will be. I am still vibing with a dark theme. So let's do a dark theme on the back with a light font. Okay, let's get started. Okay, this is our fancy logo. Let's go to home.js. So because this is very component driven, we'll have to make changes in the component and not the page which is the home.js. So let's go into components. Let's go into basic info and let's do something a little different, right? So because basic info is a component and because that component can be used across various pages, we need to design the component in such a way that it can be changed very easily. One of the most obvious changes that the basic info can have is the info that you're passing can change, and the other thing that can happen is the image that you want to be displayed can change. So, for example, I can have a basic info section for the home page where I show some very introductory content for the text section, and for the image I can show something like a developer. For the skills page I may have something like for the information I can talk about something very specific set of skills that I have, and the image can be something like me doing that sort of skill. For example, if one of my skills is public speaking, I could have an image of me giving a talk. So I hope you guys can appreciate uh, the motivation behind making the basic info component extensible. And there's a super easy way of doing that. So what we need to do is we need to do this RFCP instead of RFCE. And what this will do is it will create a component that uses props. We're not going to be defining prop type, so let's go ahead and delete that. And cool, let's get started. So basics of BEM. So we're gonna basic info, and as we said, we're gonna have two sections. We're gonna have a text container which is going to have text, and we're gonna have an image container which is gonna have an image, and the props are not yet used, so let's go ahead and use that. So as you can see, you will see both these things which are not styled at all, but we can style it as and when it goes as we go forward. So let's go ahead and define few styles for it. So first of all, let's import So we have the styling in place. So the first thing we need to do is Flexbox, guys. Flexbox everywhere, so that when we want go ahead and enhance this portfolio to be mobile friendly, it becomes super easy. So let's start with basic info. Uh, it is going to be flex, but the flex direction is going to be column, not row. So I want the element to come one after the other. The next thing I would want is I'm going to define uh, I'm going to define padding for it because I want the content to be padded, and I'm going to start with uh, 200 pixels on top, or I don't think 200 pixels is the right way to do it. So I'm going to say 10% of my view height. So if my view height is 100 pixels, it's going to be 10 pixels. So VH is the relative height based on the view, and towards the left I'm going to do say 15 view width, towards the right, sorry, and the same to the bottom, and the same to the right. Okay, this is gonna be my padding, and I'm gonna define the width of this. Okay, actually I think the width is already 100%, so I don't have to worry about that. We can verify that really quickly. Yeah, it is. So we have decided that. So next we need to do is we need to align items to center, and we need to justify items to space between. We want the items to be as far apart as possible. Oh, sorry. Justify content, space between. Okay, as you can see, it's in the center. Nothing to worry about, all of that. The next thing we need to do is we need to have some spacing between these two. It's weird that they're like super close to one another, but let's get that done. So the way we do that is let's try to introduce a gap between them, which is like 20 view height, right? How does this look? Pretty decent, right? So let's add that gap of 20 view height. Okay, so this should keep the elements looking as they are. Next, what we will do is we are going to go ahead and import images. So I like to use stock images, or I like to use illustrations more than images, because they are I feel that they're a nice touch to the website, because they're very well designed, and you can get a lot of them online for free. So just go to open source illustrations, and Andra is one of them. Very good kind of work. Yeah, you can see lots of them already existing. So let's go ahead and look for one with a developer. So they should have a search box, and before that we need to choose a color scheme, and because our color scheme is already around this blue color, so let's go ahead and choose that blue color, which is this one. And once we go here, we can type that in, and as you can see, all of those are centered around that color. So let's go ahead and look for a developer. Okay, we can see a lot of cool illustrations over here. Let's pick one. This is cool. I like this. I'd put that. This is cool too. Hmm. Let's try hello. This is more welcoming than a developer. I'm gonna download the SVG for my project, and I'm going to put it on my desktop, and we know the drill. Pull the SVG to the assets, rename it to say uh, dev.svg because it's a dev. And we could have done this if we were designing a horror movie or a Halloween thing, but we're not. So let's get back to it. So next what we need to do is we need the image to come up over here. We can do that by going into the basic info page, and we can have the image show up from here. Okay, so before we do that, couple of housekeeping things. One of the housekeeping things, as I said, that these parameters should be necessarily supplied from somewhere. So let's make them prop values instead of using them directly. So we can do something like prop dot text, and for the image we can do something like we can have the image and we can dynamically require it props dot image path, and we can define some alt text, and we can close that and make this props. And once you save that, nothing will come up because basically there is nothing, right? So it's trying to require undefined, which is a problem. So let's go ahead and fix that. We can fix that by passing props over here. So let's go ahead and pass props. Cool. So we pass props by doing let's define props as text. I forgot the name of that one. So one is text and one is image path. Text is hello, and image path is relative to this one, which is dot dot slash assets slash dev dot svg. Okay, and what we do is we pass those props here, and let's see what it looks like. Oops, lol. I need to do something like this. Yeah. cannot find module, blah blah blah. Okay, so this is going to be problematic. Oh, why can't I? Why am I? Let's do this image source and let's require the image right here. And slash dev.svg, and instead of that, what will happen is in the basic info we are going to directly use, we're not going to require it over here, we're going to directly do props dot image source, and let's save this. Okay, nice, looks very fancy. Let's see what we're doing wrong. First thing we're doing wrong is this, it should be this. And for the image source, let's debug that. Okay, let's, okay, the width is, so there is no image. We are not able to get the image, guys. How do we do that? Okay, there is another way. So we can do import header image source from asset slash dev.svg, and we pass that over here. Yeah, there we have it. Okay, I don't want the width, I don't want these filters. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. Pretty cool, right? So the next thing we will do is we will convert the background to a darker hue, and we'll change the text. So let's go ahead and do that. So the way we do that is we go into basic info. Actually, do we want it to be in basic info or do we want it to be let's make it as a part of basic info. So the background is going to be the primary color. I forget the variable name. It's going to be this, it's the base color. And the font color will be primary font color, this one, primary font color. Where is the CSS? Oops. And we close this and we should see something like this. Much better, like this, and this. Okay, now let's go ahead and change the size of the image. It's too big. Okay, I want to control the height, so I'm gonna make the height something like 20% of the view height. Too small. I'd say 30% of view height for now. And guys, as I've told you before, we need to change these for um, to make it mobile friendly later on. But that is exercise we will definitely take up. So please bear with me till then. So the image will have a max height of 30 view. Nice. And if we refresh it, it's gonna look the same because that's what we did. And the next thing that we need to take care of is we need to make the text container a little prettier. Let's do that. So let's go into basic info. So let's do this. So there is a h1. I like to start with a h2, which is gonna be uh, it's gonna be highlight, and then we'll have an actual header for what I'm trying to say. And then I'll have my description. I'm gonna remove the props and I'm going to move these here. Okay, nothing will come up because I've not passed these necessary props. I'm gonna go to home and I'm gonna add the props. I'm going to have a highlight, which is gonna say hello there. Or let's go hey stranger. Obviously that's a string. And then we're gonna do a header which is gonna say Abhishek, and then we'll have a description that will say fancy seeing you here, do let me know how this portfolio looks. And I'm gonna add a comma. I missed a comma over here. I'm gonna add that and do enter, and would you look at that, this is what it looks like. Fancy, right? So let's go ahead and do some more changes to this. One obvious change that I want to do is I want to change the colors of each of them. So sorry, let's go into basic info.css, and so we have a h2, h1 and a p. Oh, what is a p1? It's a p. Sorry guys, that was a noob mistake. I don't know why I'm making noob mistakes today. So let's go and say h2. I want the color to be similar to a gray. We have that as a gradient 3, I believe. So let's do that. Okay. Yep, I was right. And I like the color of the h1. I'm not going to change that. I'd like it to be white. And then I'm going to change the color of P, which is going to be okay. And I also want font size to change. Probably 20 pixel. Okay. uh, 20 pixel, not that good, but anyway, let's also set a max width to this. So this will have a max width of, say, it'll take up maximum 50% of the screen for wide screens. That shouldn't affect anything ideally. And I want the font size of this to be like 30 pixels, and I want the font size of the H1. I don't want the color to change. I want this font size to be 40. Okay, and next to text, align center. Huh. Is it just me, or do you think that the P didn't align to the center? Oh, it did. Okay, let's add more text to see how it looks to the description. I hope to use this this medium to inspire other people to take up coding. Okay, this is what it looks like. So this is skills. We haven't done the skills page, but this is the home page, and this is what it looks like. Uh, Much cooler than what we started off with, right, guys? So I hope you all enjoyed the video so far, and I hope you guys are making good progress with your portfolio. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me in the comment section below. Uh, I mean, that's the only way you can reach out to me right now. Or if you're super interested, you can also reach out to me on social media. Let's chat, let's discuss, and let's all help each other improve. That's it from my end, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, or a good night if you're watching this at night. Um, okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.